Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and this time we are going to make a small tier list, right? A boon tier list and a weapons tier list for the latest Hades 2 patch. This is post the Olympic update, the big update that recently came out. So after playing a little while on stream, completing the new levels, trying out the new weapons, the new boons available, and then playing off stream for quite a little bit while, I have a little bit of a fair idea on like how each of them perform compared to the previous weapons and boons. And this is all going to be like my opinion. This is going to be based on my playstyle. It's going to be different from from person to person. So this is not a very strict tier list. This is not like the absolute tier list. This is what I feel like. What I feel like, it does good or does not do good. And yeah, so we have two tier lists. One is for the boons, right? The boons that we get across each run, and then one is for each individual weapon on its own, right? So now disclaimer, right? This is not absolute, right? This is just based on my own playstyle. So it'll be different from person to person. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, it's fine. But the whole point is like, we can strike up a conversation and then kind of like go on from there, right? So first thing is I'm going to start with the weapons because it's easy. We just have 5 weapons, and I'm going to categorize them. uh I don't think there's like really like compared with like in both cases, the weapons and the boons, I don't really think that there is a really bad weapon or a boon that falls into the lowest tier, right? I just think that they have different mechanics which works in different situations. um some are good for crowd control, some are not. Some are good for melting down a single boss enemy, things like that. Uh so yeah, we'll go through it each one by one, right? uh so this is in respect of what aspect they have. Sometimes the aspect comes into play. Some of them have amazing aspects, so like with good buffs. But yeah, so we'll go with this. So first of all, we'll start with the witcher stuff, right? So this is the bread and butter. This is the first weapon you get in the game, and I feel like the witcher stuff is an A tier, right? I think this is a well all-round weapon. It is not super broken. It did get nerfed quite a bit. It would have been S tier because it was like it did everything right for a while. It was able to do everything. It had range, it had good normals. It was like its normals could target multiple enemies in the single direction, right? It functioned like a little bit of an AoE normal, so it was quite good, right? It had amazing range, and then they reworked the normals where the projectiles can now bounce off each enemies, like without the upgrade from the Daedalus hammer. So it did get a buff, but it was also nerfed, right? Because there was an upgrade for the Daedalus hammer where you can shoot 2 shots, and that is what truly made the witcher stuff truly broken, right? Pair that up with any boon, like maybe a lightning boon from Zeus, or a flame special boon from Hestia, anything, and you'll start melting down your targets quickly, right? They nerfed that by giving it that double projectile Daedalus hammer upgrade. They nerfed it by decreasing the range, so you need to be more closer to the enemy, so it becomes more like a normal range attack at that point. So that's what kind of like made it like less lethal, right? Because before you could just keep your distance safely from enemies and just chunk and melt them. And I mean, if you had the Poseidon boom, you can clear rooms easily, right? But yeah, so they nerfed that. The Daedalus hammer upgrade was what made this weapon truly spectacular. And then yeah, the range decrease, turning it into like a normal range attack at the end. So that's what kind of like brought it down a bit. But I still feel like it's a good all round weapon. The sister blades, my personal favorite. I think the sister blades are S tier. Now people will disagree because like it doesn't really have proper AOE, and things like that. It kind of like it's limited in its AOE. It's limited in crowd control. But I think the system blades are truly fantastic because it has the highest range. They reworked the blade to now return, so it's no longer single throw. You don't need the Daedalus hammer upgrade for it to return and do the backstab. It has an aspect that does backstab bonus damage, which is amazing. And the Omega attacks from the sister blades are also quite lethal depending on the boon you're using. If you have Poseidon special boons, like where it does the wave for crowd controlling, if you do the Omega attack for the sister blades, you can just chunk a single target by just like running up to it and just doing the omega attack with maximum blades, or you could just easily clear waves of like clear rooms easily as well with the omega attacks. And the normal attacks are quite fast, and it's able to stagger opponents really quickly. It's my personal favorite. Like, I've had like the fastest clear times with the sister blades. It's like super. I feel like the sister blades are super broken, despite I think it got a few nerves here and there in terms of the daedalus hammer. I can't remember exactly, but I think like the sister blades are my favorite. I think a lot of speedrunners I've seen so far use the sister blades because of its versatility and its speed and its ability to quickly chunk down with the omega normal attack as well. So I think the sister blades, in my opinion, like it'll be different from playstyle, but I play in a style which I play a range assassin type style, not more like a brute style, not like a brute force style. So I think that's why I think the sister blades are quite broken. Next up, umbral frames. Now this depends, right? The umbral frames is like, I would say, like the mage build, right? It's like the highest. It's like a very mage build. Um, I would say the umbral frames are not bad, but I would just rank it low, right? I don't think there's a C or D tier here. I just think that yeah, the lowest would be B, because each weapon does do good. I have cleared all the levels so far with each of the weapons, and I see their strengths and weaknesses. But the umbral frames is just not for me, in my opinion. Like, and this is just it's just to me at this point, like, it just feels like you need to do a lot to get a lot of damage, right? Because the true damage comes out of, like, once you use a few normals attack and those like spirit things come out, and then you do your special, and then once it's able to trigger, then that's when you proc the explosions, right? And sometimes for that to happen, you need to be in the middle of waves of enemies to do that. And in certain scenarios it works good, but your health is going to get chipped, right? A lot of times I find myself in the middle, right, trying to get myself into the like the wave, into the like the bunch of enemies to get the most out of the damage, right? um so yeah, I feel like the normals still don't do enough, right? Because the main damage comes from the explosion of the normal attacks, right? So the explosion is kind of like hard, depending on like how you kind of like swivel around the enemies, trying to get your special, the circular special attack to hit and proc the explosions of the normals. So I feel like the play style is not for me. It feels like a very setup heavy play style, and yeah, depending on the situation, like, yeah, the umbral flames is just not for me. So the new weapon that came out with the Olympic update, right? The black coat. Oh my, the Iron Man weapon, in my opinion, that turns you into a complete Iron Man. I think it is super fun to play, right? It does force you to like kind of like get into the enemy to do the punch attacks, but I feel like the specials like are kind of like okayish, right? Uh, I think I think it should be B, but I feel like A because like it's super fun to play, right? No, it's A. It's A. It's not B. It's A. It's A for the reason because of its sprint, right? It has, I think, the fastest sprint. Like, none of the other weapons gives you a sprint like it. You don't need any a boon from Hermes to go around that fast, right? With the Hermes boon, you are basically flying across the map. So yeah, this is A. The punch attacks have good AoE, like in a single direction. They target multiple targets. You can upgrade this with the Daedalus Hammer. You can increase them. You can increase the damage. You can increase armor damage to armor, right? The specials are also quite good. The missiles, it's just that the lock on is fine with the omega attack, but the normal special attacks that you use, it's just that sometimes the pathing they use, it just collides in with a wall or some other object, and then you don't get the damage of the special, right? That's the only thing that makes it struggle. But I think the that you don't mind that, because the speed from sprinting with the black coat just kind of makes up for everything, right? You're just darting across the map, punching, darting, punching, darting, punching, and the sprint attack is also like a ground pound. So you just constant damage, like darting. This you're just kiting around the map, right? I just feel like it's just super fun to play. It's just like it's so fresh. It's like a new way of playing Hades all of a sudden, right? And yeah, Argon Skull, I would be right. Once again, I think Argon Skull it's just the play style. It's not the one for me. I don't think it's a bad weapon, right? The whole uh picking up the skulls, trying to like I wish you had. I can't remember because I haven't used Argon skulls a lot, but I don't know if there's like a there's a daedalus upgrade that makes the skulls come back to you or something for over time. Like I can't remember if they've reworked the mechanic or anything because I haven't used the Argon skulls like post the Olympic updates so far. But I'm just basing it off like what I've like played with it so far, right? But I think it might be better now, but because they did try and improve a lot of the weapons with this update, so I think the Argon skull might be. But I still think like you know I still think because the special attack is not actually a special. Your normal is acts like a special, right? Because usually special attacks tends to be range attacks. So in the case of the Argon Skull, um, it's kind of like vice versa. Your normals are like kind of range attack, and your special is just a dash, right? So yeah, it's not the playstyle for me. It lets you. It always forces you to be up close and personal. It's a bit difficult with certain bosses. Uh, I'm not sure. I think using the Argon Skull with the new Prometheus boss is going to be quite hard because being up close and personal because he does a lot of like high damage melee attacks, right? So trying to like use the Argon Skulls and then dash through him and try to get the skulls back and use the Argon Skulls again is just a lot of like unnecessary setups that you need to do to, and it kind of like makes the whole fight, in my opinion, a lot harder. But then again, this is just my opinion, right? I haven't used Argon Skulls a lot. There might be people who are doing fantastic with the Argon Skulls. I would less, yeah, and I think there's certain. I think I can think of a few boons. I think the Argon Skull is one of the few weapons that makes, I would say that would make Hera's boon. I think shine a bit more because I feel like Hera's boon suffers a little bit because of its utility. But I think the Argon Skull is one of the boons. Is one of the weapons that can make Hera's boon. Wait, did I say was it the correct boon? Was it Hera's boon? Yeah, Hera's one that causes hitch, right? Yeah. And finally, the axe. I would say the battle axe is. I think it's A tier. I think it's fine. They reworked the special to be like a uppercut type slash rather than a block. Um, so you could do. So I kind of like discovered a neat combo. You could press so on you press special and then one special and then one normal, and you can combo off that, and that is much faster than trying to do a 3-hit normal attack, like just pressing normal. So on the PS controller, it's square, 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 square. So rather than that, press triangle, square, and the frames for that is like much faster. Is what I discovered. Just one uppercut, one slash, one uppercut, one slash, and you can get a lot more damage of it. There's just one good aspect of it, which is the one that gives you attack speed. After that, I can't remember if there's a better aspect for it, but yeah, I mean this has the most damage, right? But it's just I've just felt that it's just, certain situations is just horribly slow, right? And that's why because I prefer the assassin playstyle and because like because of the speed of sister blades, I think that's why I feel like the moon, what is it called? The moonstone axe, right? Yeah, the moonstone axe just because it's slow. But I feel like this is where you can build those tank builds, the one with health. I think Athena's boon. I think the moonstone axe can do the best with Athena's boon because Athena's boons gives you the new Athena boons that came up with the Olympic update. They give you some of the best defensive options, like shields and stuff. I think the Moonstone X complements Athena's boon very well. With the rest of the weapons, I don't see Athena's boon being that useful, other than like, it's a nice to have perk, right? Having more boons, the better. But I think Moonstone X does well with Athena's boons. So yeah, there you guys go. There you guys go. Yeah, we don't really need. Uh, oops. Yeah, delete row. Okay. Yeah, we don't really need the C or D tier. This is what I think. I think the Sister Blades S tier, Witcher Staff, Black Coat, and Moonstone Axe is A. Umbral and Argon Skull B. I think this is primarily also because of the fact that I think that the Umbral and Argon Skull are not too fun to play. I think this is the playstyles that revolve and that's not enjoyable enough. But then again, it's just me, right? Once again, it's just me. This is not set in stone. all the weapons work. I've done all the weapons. I've beaten all the bosses with all the weapons. I've cleared all the levels with all the weapons. They all work, right? They all work with every boon. It's just that some perform better than other in certain situations and with certain boons attached to it. So you're still free to choice. But this is just a personal this is just personal tier list for myself, right? So weapons done. Let's go over to the boons, right? So this is like so I made this tier list because there wasn't a Hades 2 weapons tier list yet. This was an already created one. So I don't think so. These are all the boons, right? We got Hera, Zeus, Poseidon, Demeter, that's Apollo, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Hestia, uh, Artemis, Hermes. Oh shit, I forgot this guy's name. Who is this guy? The flying dude. The guy who. Icarus, yes. Icarus, Hades, Selena. Uh, oh shit, I keep forgetting the names. Chaos. Who's Chaos? Chaos, yeah, that's the name. Chaos. Chaos, Athena, and finally Dionysus. Yes. Dionysus artwork post Olympic upgrade is just hilarious, right? All right. Now, once again, just like the weapons, none of these boons are useless. They all have good functionality. It's just that I feel like depending on your playstyle, some boons will outshine the rest. So first of all, we'll start with Hera, the Hitch boon. I think it's okay, right? The cost, the normals, the specials, and bunch of the other boons that she's able to give you, and applying Hitch, right? So Hitch means that enemies, it does it does crowd control, right? Like when they're hitched to like when you apply hitch on different enemies, they share the damage with with the primary enemy that you do the damage on takes the most damage, and the rest get like a portion of the damage. And then I think there's like a dateless like a couple of upgrades where they all share equal damage. I think you can do a couple of stuff like that, but I just feel like I mean, you could just get much more damage out of the other boons than hers, right? Like, sure, she gives you a little bit more attack options, and but I feel like Poseidon's crowd control is still by far the best crowd control, even though it's been nerfed damage wise. I still think Poseidon's crowd control is better. Since we already touched on Poseidon, we'll go with Poseidon and we'll say Poseidon is good. Poseidon would have been God at one point, but I think they, if I've been lately the Poseidon boons, the splash from everything, uh, they've reduced the damage. I feel like it doesn't do as much as it is used to. I haven't. I went through the patch notes. I can't remember if I might have forgotten, but I think they nerfed the damage because it's still good for con control. The pushback is good. Everything is good. The one with the sprint is. I think I by now the best Poseidon boon attack wise would be the one with sprint because it just knocks back enemies and lets you just plow through them, doing good damage. And the sunken treasure one is also good where you are able to. I think sunken treasure is the one where you can double your reward chances, right? So he does some good stuff with the boons, right? Some good support boons as well, and offensive boons. Although damage is now slightly reduced, it's still good. Zeus, the chain lightning boons. Yeah, I think Zeus is good. Yeah, Zeus is good. Once you get the chain lightning ones, pair that up with any range Daedalus upgrade, like the double special attack from the staff, or the knockback ones, or the ricocheting sister blade ones, or anything. I think that's when it becomes really broken because the chain lightning, then you get the lightning damage and everything. His cast attack is also quite nice. He has some good duo options with the other gods as well, so he has some good variety of options. Damage wise, it's also good once you're able to get the lightning strike to come out. It's just proccing it might take a little bit of time, so that's where you need attack speed, weapon speed, lightning chances of the lightning strike, higher chance increase rates. So you need those like pump upgrades like you to get that out. But yeah, so he does good damage. Demetus. I feel like a lot of people would disagree with me, but I feel like Demetus is god tier. Her freeze capabilities is just insane, and it does good damage as well, right? She has a couple of duo boons that goes with Hephaestus and Hestia, which are quite broken. Uh, uh, and yeah, like she has like two boons that affects your cast. One is a ice cyclone and one is a freeze like icicle drop. If you get those two together, dude, your cast is god level. Like it is, that is one of the more, because the damage over time that does is sick, right? I Because of that cast, I use like if I get Demetrius, I go for that cast. I use her to upgrade my casts. So the cyclone damage over time and then the icicle drop damage over time just for the cast attack alone is enough. Like it helps you melt enemies like quickly, right? If you upgrade those two, it's just crazy. And the freeze, you just freeze enemies, right? You can proc a freeze like quickly over again and again and again, make things easier for you. So I feel because of that, Demetrius is god tier. While on the topic of yeah, Apollo, I feel Apollo is, let's see, days, right? I feel like Apollo is okay. I do like the normals, like in a larger area that your attack and specials increase, right, exponentially, right? Just massive increases to attack. But the effect of days, but he gives you one good sprint. He gives you one good sprint upgrade boon, but that's about it. I don't feel like Apollo's boons makes your builds that broken, right? But then again, I could be wrong. It just depends on the combinations I've been playing so far. I mean, I just feel like you can just get around without using Apollo Toad. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Aphrodite. Aphrodite is also okay. Her charm boons, right? Damage reduction, weakness. You can cause some damage reduction. So her normal makes you do increased damage up close. So that's good for like melee based weapons like the axe, moonstone axe, and stuff like that. Even the umbral flames, which forces you to go into enemies a lot more often than we'd like to. Um, but other than that, I don't see anything else like that she does good. I think she does. Was it her boon that does healing with damage? I can't remember if it was her boon for that, but she does one good boon where you get more health out of health upgrades, but you need to have like 80% of your health remaining in order for that upgrade to proc. So, I mean, this is Hades, right? You're never going to find, unless you have armor, you're hardly going to find yourself at 80% most of the time, right? Like, but then again, it's just me. Hephaestus, definite god tier. I'll just put him in front of I'll put him in front of Demetrius because I feel Hephaestus, in my opinion, is the best boon overall. Everything gives you the everything gives you damage options, right? Damage options, vent damage options, damage to armor, boost attack stats depending on the number of the rock elemental boons you have. Everything has to do with damage, right? The the normals, the specials, and the sprint and the cast, they will do that the anvil strike damage, which is a massive damage, right? I think it starts off at every 11-14 seconds, like that, right? All of it. And then you can use pop upgrades to bring the cooldown of that down so that you can proc it more. But it just massive damage, 400 plus damage, like instant damage, right? And it's AoE as well, right? So you can just chunk enemy health, do proper crowd control. Like I love Hephaestus, like, and you can upgrade it like to get vent damage as well. So as soon as like the anvil drops, it does that vent like steam damage, so for more damage over time. And yeah, I just feel like everything he has to do is with damage. So his boons are really amazing. Hestia, god tier as well, for the exact same reasons as Demeter. She does amazing damage over time stuff. Her scorch is crazy. If you get her scorch specials on sister blades or on Witch's Staff, especially with the double special shot Daedalus upgrade, you will be able to melt enemies, right? Just constant melt. And a Scorch cast is also quite good. You can upgrade that cast to like to turn into a projectile with explosion damage. Um, so yeah, she's also quite good. And Hestia and Demeter has like good duo boons as well. And she also has a couple of damage increase boons depending on the number of fire elemental fire boons that you have and stuff like that. So I feel like uh yeah, Scorch, Freeze, and this guy's anvil damages are by far the best in the game. Artemis's boons are quite good. They give you crit hits most of the time. But I think by far she has one awesome boon, which is the added projectile whenever you attack an enemy. Be it normal, be it special, she'll launch an arrow that does additional damage, and that just more damage is always good, right? I think that's just one favorite damage. Other than that, she has one good critical hit damage, but yeah, she's all about crit hits. So anything that gets a crit hits, yeah, that's fine. But she doesn't do anything more than that. It's nothing super amazing, right? Like even if you don't have any of her boons, you can just get around with like any of these guys, like it's fine. But yeah, she just gives you additional like crit hits and additional an arrow or something to go along with the projectile, so it's fine. Hermes is, I would say Hermes is okay because a lot of his attacks don't like a lot of his boons. He has this one really good boon which gives you a shield when you start sprinting, right? Which negates all damage, and that is by far the best boon he has. Other than that, I don't see anything else. He gives you sprint damage increase. I think he gives you one boon that reduces projectile speed. Or that could be a boon from someone else actually. Can't remember, but yeah, it's okay. I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot. Icarus, I think Icarus is also okay. He gives you, what does Icarus gives you? I forgot. But I remember it wasn't much. Let me just quickly check out his boons. Oh, here we go. Okay, he gives you armor. He gives you a couple of armor options. He gives you attack plus tower on priming. Yeah, it's okay. It's nothing much. He gives you like he has one or two good boons that gives you armor. So I think that's why it's like those are the best ones. Yeah, the destructive coating and the protective coating. So you get 40 armor and then you deal 400 damage to nearby foes if you lose your armor, or you get 80, and the next time you lose you become impervious for 8 seconds. Yeah, those two are quite good options, I would say. So it's okay because like it's just some defensive options you have, but it doesn't have like not everything does good. Um so yeah, it's just fine. It's fine. It's a good he's a good support boons, right? Nothing too attack heavy. Hades is okay. Hades just gives you some boons that just helps you with mostly with the final fight with Kronos, but nothing too crazy. One is like you do like 20% damage at the start to Kronos, like his health bar is already gone. Another one is like it reduces the number of minions Kronos has. And another one is like whenever you use 40 magic, you proc some soul urns, which does AoE damage. Nothing too crazy. I don't think it's bad, but it's alright. Selena. Selena is good, but it depends on the moon attack you get. I think she has some fabulous moon powers that you can gain. Some good ultimate attacks. The impervious one is good. The the meteor crash one is good. The moonbeam is also good. Once you upgrade them, they become amazing. They're good utility options that just perform well. There are certain times when I don't, because of how good these boons are, I don't find myself using a lot of ultimate attacks. But in a clutch situation, yeah, she comes through. She turns you impervious when you use them, so you have a little bit of time to like kind of quickly evaluate your situation, get out of a tight situation or something like that. Chaos. I mean, Chaos, it just depends, right? She doesn't do a lot of good things. Like, she just gives you some attack stats or some okay ones. Like, yeah, the only downside, as everyone knows, is with chaos is that, um, it is, you have to do a couple of encounters with some negative, with some nerves, right? With some immediate nerves, and a lot of the time, the nerves, like the buff you get afterwards, is not worth it, right? They are just like one or two that gives you like added specials attack or added normal attacks. That kind of like that kind of like is good given whatever nerf you get. So most of the time it's not. Most of the time I use chaos as an extra way. If you have the silk armor, so each time you go through a gate, you get like 4 armor, right? I use chaos as an excuse to just go through and get some extra armor. That's most of the time I use chaos. Athena is good. She gives you some good defensive options. I haven't used her too much. I haven't encountered her too much, as because I think because of that. So I just know that there's just one boon that gives you a projectile attack and then gives you a shield and things like that. So yeah, I think she's okay for the time being. I mean, like, it's good, right? It's not broken. Like, she doesn't give you anything broken, but yeah. Dionysus is also, he gives you more survivability, like some clouds that buff you, make you heal. I think he's, I think he's good and she's okay. Oh no, wait. I think, oh, are they both good? Yeah, it's tough to tell because I have not used Dionysus. Like, once again, it depends on the number of times. I've just encountered him twice, and both boons I've got him is fine. One gives you a drink, and the other one creates a purple cloud that lets you take reduced damage. I think that was the one, right? It's a bit difficult to recollect. Let me just try and let me take a look. Oh, here we go, Dionysus. Oh, here we are. Yeah. So the drink, the purple haze cloud. Yes, yeah, that's about it. That's about his good ones. So yeah, there you guys go. It. This is my boon tier list for Hades 2. My god boon tier list and my weapon tier list. Once again, I will say that this is not a definitive tier list. This will not define the game. The game is still getting patches. This is purely based on individual runs. Number of factors comes into play. The combination between boons and weapons comes into play heavily. It just depends on your playstyle as well. This tier list is not definitive and does not define your playstyle, right? This could be different from person to person. A lot of people will disagree with this. People might not agree with it. It is what it is. That's the beauty of roguelike games, right? Everyone can make a build out of anything. And so far from what I've built, and this is what I feel like, right? So these are my finalized tier list as of now. This is right post Olympic update, after playing for quite a bit. The new levels and everything, using the new boons and the old boons as well. I mean, previous at early Hades to early access, this Poseidon would have been god tier for sure. But I think he's like somewhere. Yeah, he's still good, but he's not that good. Like, his damage, I think they nerfed his damage. I can't remember seeing it, but I've noticed that the damage he doesn't do as much anymore. But the splash damage, the wave mechanic is still there, but that's why it's still good. All right, so there you guys have it. Hopefully, this was entertaining or something. Like, let me know what you guys think. Your personal opinions, it's fine. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next live stream or video. Till next time, then. Bye bye.